how do I invest my money? This could be of interest to people only with very high risk appetite and with a portfolio and with income from non-portfolio, having a decent non-portfolio income. If you are a businessman, if you are a person in service and you are running well and you don't have much of expenses, which means that's your main occupation, so then your portfolio you can copy what I do. This is not meant for the person who is trying to build a portfolio for his daughter's wedding, for his buying a bigger house and all that. It has to be completely different. So let me just tell you, I have always been able to buy shares when the market declined. So whenever the market went down, so 1991 I may have bought, then 2001, 2002 also I was not very pessimistic about the market, so therefore I could hold on from the index of 2-3,000 to 21,000. I didn't sell much. I sold at the fag end thanks to Ken Fisher's book, only 3 questions to ask or something like that, and only 3 questions you must ask. I've done a video on that in the past. I'm sorry, but I can't find the link, or I did not search hard enough. So yeah, so the question is, what do? I keep buying whenever I see a particular share at a decline. So in so many years of investing, I have never benchmarked myself against any fellow investor or the index. It has never bothered me as to what I am doing compared to the index. If the index is doing 13%, I may have done 39. When the index has done 39, I may have done 13. Does not matter at all for me. I am a stock picker. I would pick value stocks and I could just hold on for, like Buffett says, forever. I've got shares bought in 1977. I've got shares bought in 1979, 1986, right, all those, right, 2001, and I've invested in mutual funds which I've invested perhaps in 98, 99, and I'm still holding, right? So 25 years of holding. So if Naren has spent, I think Naren joined in 2003 or 2004. So 2003, 2004 to 2023, which means about 20 years of holding of Value Discovery, because that's the fund he started managing, right? So some of these holdings of mine can go extremely long. It has never bothered me, and I'm an equity guy. Apart from some sovereign bonds and PPF and some Nivesh Lakshya of Nippon, I think HDFC also has a long-term fund which is 2045 or 2055 kind of maturity. Apart from that, maybe some money in multi-asset fund and BAF which is puts in debt. Otherwise, I'm an out-and-out equity person. But you need to understand that the reason why I'm putting money in equity is because I continue to earn money and my dividend income is 2x, 3x my annual expenses. Similarly, for my mother, her dividend income is perhaps 5, 6x her annual expenses. So she continues to invest at the age of 85, 86. So again, equity stocks which I buy for her. So she could also be about 90% or 80, 90% in equity apart from the house in which she lives. So that's the situation as to why I buy. I can keep buying at dips, I can keep buying when the market is going up, and I buy individual stocks. So to me, the index doesn't matter, the value of the share matters. If I think the share is overvalued by whatever parameters that I have, or it has run up too fast, right? Giving you this same example, I bought BHEL at 70 sometime in April, 66, 67, and I got rid of it at 114. Can it go up further? Yes. Does it bother me? No, because I bought it at 25, bought it 50, I bought it 70, or I bought it 66 to 70. Again, I was a buyer. I did not buy above 70. But similarly, I bought Coal India at 119, 117, 119. I bought Tata Power at 30. I bought BHEL from 25. Indian Oil at 76, 77. I just couldn't understand why people were not interested in the dividends. But then I'm a contrarian, value seeker, dividend seeker kind of a person. You may be looking for growth stories. It's not as though I don't look for growth stories. Zomato and Indigo are there in my portfolio. So it's not that I don't look at growth stories. Yes Bank is there, again, hoping it's a growth story, and I take a risk. I bought Vodafone at 3 rupees, 4 rupees. I keep selling at 8 rupees, 9 rupees, and then buy it and get back. So some of those things. So I do trading. I do delivery based trading, I do money based trading, I do deep value investing. I hold on for 30, 40, 50 years. Like, so there is no single strategy which I do, and I don't see any reason. If I were running some other person's money, then I would need to do that. So I can buy so like I said, if I ignore the small amount of debt, I should be about 85-86% in equity. So I have very aggressively moved into equity simply because I know my dividends will take care of me. And so the first question is this market timing? What am I trying to do? Am I trying to do market timing? Market timing is quite a disgraceful word in the market. So people say, oh my god, he's a market timer. You should never time the market. You should spend time, spend more time in the market rather than trying to time the market, right? You've heard all these things. I don't know whether I want to say I'm not a market timer. I really don't care what people think. I manage my own money. So to me that should not matter. That does not matter. But whenever I find some shares are terribly overpriced or some shares are terribly underpriced and I keep wondering why people are not buying, I just go and buy first and then ask questions. Or some banker comes and tells me, oh, this company is extremely good, they're very prompt in repaying all the loans, they're doing well, they've got cash hand over fist, they're refusing to take more money from me and I would love to give them more money, and they're doing it well. Or some other venture capitalist comes and says, look, this guy is doing well, he's not taking money, he's doing so well that his competitor is trying to acquire him and he's just showing attitude, he does not want to sell that, but it is doing very well. So some of these companies, like for example, I don't invest in a company based in Hyderabad. It's been, I never invested, or if I've invested, I've got out very quickly. However, I made an exception that I have GMR Airports because I bought it at a low price. My cost keeps increasing because I'll buy more and more. So my cost will keep increasing, but that does not matter. My absolute profits keep going up. Company is doing well. It's the only company which is run by a Hyderabad based promoter which I still own. That's the reason why I don't have Brightcom. Nobody asked me to buy Brightcom. I missed it. I did not know what was happening. Now I saw a video by Sucheta Dalal saying how it is such a big fraud, but I didn't know. I mean, I just missed it. So it was never given to me, but it would have failed the first test. Is the company run from by a Hyderabad promoter? If the answer is yes, I wouldn't touch it. Like I said, the only exception was when I bought GMR. So sometimes you feel like rebalancing. You say, oh God, I got too much of bank, so should I sell some bank and buy some pharma? Or you sell some pharma and you buy some bank, or you buy infrastructure. So infrastructure is something which I just don't understand. So infrastructure, I prefer going through funds. Pharma is something which I understand partially. So I buy the good pharma company. So I'll have Lupin, Sun, Pfizer. Not that I am very proud of being a shareholder of Pfizer, but I have the shares. Cipla. So I have a decent mix of pharma companies, but I also have 2 pharma funds because I know that I can never get the pharma cycle right, so doing an SIP into pharma funds makes sense. And it sounds very odd, but I would want my hospital bill, if any, which is not covered by insurance, to be paid by my pharma funds. Sounds very stupid and very odd. It's a behavioral bias, but I will live with that, right? So that happens to me. So also times when sometimes when markets overshoot and sometimes markets are terribly underpriced. For example, Prashant Jain, I don't think ever thought that the market was overpriced or underpriced. He knew that it was sector rotation. For example, in 2003 to 2007 boom, the infrastructure companies, your BHEL, I've sold BHEL at 300 plus. I still can't believe it myself. I've sold Tata Power, I sold some Kotak Bank, Chola investments. I'm not very sure whether I sold HDFC. So these are all shares which I sold and I bought back much later at a lower price, right? So this could happen. Some sectors could overshoot. Now suppose the market capitalization of Sun Pharma is greater than the BFSI space, just theoretically. You know that pharma industry itself is terribly overpriced and the banking industry is terribly underpriced. That is obvious. It's like my friend says, he's a cardiologist, so he says when I look at a person I can guess his BMI, but I never ask him his BMI directly. I just ask him, is it about 27, and the chances are it would be yes. then I would say, oh, you must reduce weight, blah blah blah. But then to know whether his BMI is 42 or 400, it doesn't really matter how much you know. The minute he looks at him and he can say, look, your BMI is definitely more than 27, and I think you should take care of it, and that's how the conversation starts. So similarly, you do not know by exactly how much a share is overpriced, or by exactly how much a share is underpriced. For example, when a company gives you 10%, 15% kind of dividend yield, and consistently you keep pulling your hair and saying, why are people not buying it? So earlier I used to wait for people and say, oh, nobody is buying, so I will not buy. Now I start buying and ask people why they are not buying, and after that, if they buy, good for me. But even if they don't buy, I don't mind, because I can hold on. For example, a 120 rupee Coal India you can hold for the rest of your life for the kind of dividend yield that you are getting. Or Vedanta at 97 rupees. It was a clear screaming buy simply because of the dividend yield. Yes, of course, the price could have fallen and negated all the dividend that I've got, but then the chances are, when a company pays so much of dividend, there is no reason why the price won't go up, right? Why should the price go down when the company is paying such good dividends? So sometimes when the market overshoots or undershoots, of course there is this theory that market reverts to the mean. I don't know. When the market overshoots and the earnings are not keeping pace, or the market overshoots much better than the earnings, that's a good signal at a time for me to shift industries. I don't, like I said, I switch, I don't sell. So I would just sell from, say, pharma and buy banking, or I would sell a PSU. PSUs in my portfolio are now quite heavy, and I feel very expensive in terms of what it used to be available at. So maybe I will look at the class and say, I got too much PSU, so let me get rid of the finance PSUs, because I can never get a Hindustan Aeronautics outside. I can never get a BEML outside, or a Mazagon Dock outside. Yes, it could be overpriced, underpriced, I'm not talking about that, but I could always find a financing corporation outside. So Railway Financing Corporation or anything like that I can find outside. I can decide to buy more of NTPC and less of REC. I can do some of those things, but yes, I need to reduce my PSU, can be a view why I am selling. But I've been buying BHEL. I bought 25, 50, 70, 65, 68, and I sold also some, right? So it's not to say that it can't fall, but sometimes you take your profits, sometimes you keep adding, right? So I mean, Titan I've held on from original to today. Castrol I bought recently also. Colgate, Siemens, Cummins, these are all held for a very long period of time. They've given very good returns, so there is no reason to sell those shares. Would I acquire more at these prices? I am not very confident of acquiring more. So acquiring more, I may do some other, I may buy a HDFC Bank, but I may not buy a Pfizer at this price. So it keeps changing, and very important, because I am an individual, I don't have to say what I am going to do with the share. Am I going to trade or am I going to invest? So yes, sometimes when you're confused, you make money. Sometimes when you're confused, you lose money. Thank you.